Hey, we are live. All right, I made it. It's good to see some people waiting in the chat here. This is nice. What do we got? We got 5 of you mofos. This is a beautiful thing. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys know this, but I have over 100 subscribers now, so I'm pretty much going to big time you every time I have a live. You can expect me to be late. I'm just kidding. Sorry about that. Honestly, I thought scheduling it for 9 o'clock was going to give me like way more time. In fact, I'm like, well, I'll just go on early then, you know? I'll say it's, I'll just say I'm going on at 9, but I'll be there at 8:30. Well, I was running around like a maniac just trying to get here. Now, it's 10 after. So, what is up with everybody? We got Paku in the house, Andrew, Western Mass. So, before we get started, how do I sound? Is the mic okay? Obviously, you guys heard me say I have 100 subscribers, so I bet you can hear me. But what's going on with you guys? What should we talk about? Any big UFC fights coming up or anything like that? Dude, I am fucking stoked for UFC 300. My wife was just telling me that we're having like a lunar eclipse tomorrow, and I live in Western New York, and apparently it's like prime viewing or some shit. And she's like, "Oh yeah, everyone's talking about how all this stuff lines up, and the world could end tomorrow." And the first thing I thought is the fucking world better not end before UFC 300. Like, I need to see that Gaethje Holloway fight. Audio is mint, fucking mint, with my it's like a $70 fucking bitch ass microphone. Works good though. The plan is to get a laptop and get it set up. Maybe I'll have like a mic stand and I'll look fucking real professional. Paku said I'm looking fresh. I know I don't have the hat. I literally like turn around and go back to go get my hat, but then I'm like, that's corny. I'm not gonna fucking put a hat on. I don't know. I look how I look. I'm surprised nobody has commented on the fact that like in 95% of my videos, I'm wearing the same 2 sweatshirts. They just happen to be my 2 favorite sweatshirts, and I wear them all the time. This is actually my 3rd favorite. Yeah, it's a big deal tomorrow with that freaking stupid eclipse. I actually don't have work tomorrow. My boss was like, "Yeah, we're not, you know." He made it clear it's not a paid day off, but no one has work tomorrow. I'm like, "Oh, gee, thanks." Andrew said, "How you doing, Jackal?" I'm doing good, man. Had a pretty good day today so far. I'm a little tired. Started out, and I'm just bullshitting here at the beginning. We'll get into the meat and potatoes. But I fucking normal Sunday. I train every Sunday from 10 to 12. We have an open mat. You just set the clock and do rounds for 2 hours. So that's always a great way to start your Sunday. And then afterwards, I actually went shoe shopping. I'm not like a sneaker guy or a shoe person, but the one pair of sneakers I have are like getting pretty ratty. I've had them for like 3 years. So I'm like, you know what? And my one buddy at work had a pair of Nike Air Max. So I'm like, oh, those look nice. I'm gonna get a pair of those. And you can go on Nike's website and make your own, like design your own shoe. So I went on there, and it was like $180 for a pair of Nike Air Max 1s. That's what I want. And I'm like, I don't feel like paying $180. So I went around to a couple local stores, which, dude, it was like the first time I've been in the mall in a long time. What a sad fucking place that is. Like, you guys remember the mall, like in the early 2000s, when it was the place to be? Anyway, they had one shoe store. They didn't have my sneakers. Then I was going to get this other pair that I really didn't like, and they were 150 bucks. I'm like, I'm not about to pay $150 for a pair of shoes that I don't even like that much. So I just came home and I scrubbed my old sneakers with some Dawn dish soap, but they're falling apart. Then I went to dinner with my dad. Went to my birthday's coming up this week, so we went and got some steaks, which he doesn't like steak. He's the only guy in the world who complained about having a steak dinner, but he doesn't like steak, but I do. I enjoyed it. Then we got ice cream, because that's what grown men do. They go get ice cream with their dad. And then I went and took the wife shopping, and here we are. Grocery shopping. And her and the kid are putting the groceries away now. And I'm here with you guys, with my adoring fans, doing a live. So let's get right into it. Hap said, "Why don't you stream anymore, Jackal?" Dude, it's like, so you have this much time, right? And then I have a full-time job and a family, and I like to train martial arts, and then I have YouTube, you know what I mean? And I'm just starting out, so if I only have this much time for YouTube, I need to like figure out how to edit and, you know, watch. So my YouTube time also includes like watching film, fucking, like I said, learning how to edit, making thumbnails and all that shit. So I'm working on this YouTube thing, and I have to decide, like, should I spend, okay, so today I have an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever. Should I spend that time watching film, making a standalone video, or going live? You know, so the past couple weeks I've been trying to like make more videos, learning how to do more editing shit, so I haven't been going live as much. But one day when I'm a full-time fucking YouTuber, I will stream every day. I promise. Yeah, and like Paku said, you're literally watching my stream. What? What shoe company did I go to? I went to there's a Dick's Sporting Goods that I don't support them for other reasons, but I went there because they have the biggest shoe selection, and they didn't have what I want. So I think I'm just gonna order the ones online, like the way you can design them yourself, and I'll just pay the $170 and get the exact shoe I want. I haven't been MIA. I just like I said, I've been like before the 300 comes up, I've been like dropping those UFC 300 videos. That's the other thing. Like, if I drop a 12-minute video, it didn't take me 12 minutes to record that video. You know, I want to, believe it or not, I actually try to do my homework so I don't sound like a complete fool. So I like watch footage, and then I record the video, then I gotta edit the video. So I put like 3 or 4 of those out the past week or so. So that's where I've been. I just haven't been doing lives. I wanted to do one. I was gonna go live last night, but then, like I said, then instead of going live, I had to do family stuff. So I'm sorry. I promise. I will try to make it a point to go live at least once a week. I think that's reasonable. Like I think I could do at least an hour to a 2-hour live once a week and put out videos and learn how to edit and all that shit. And another, like the lighting. I got to figure out this lighting, you know? That all takes time. And that's all in my little bit of YouTube time that I have. I got to do all that shit. But I don't know, it's like shadows, and sometimes you can see the blue. I don't know. I got to figure it out. How'd you guys do on the cards last night, betting wise? I actually Actually made out decent. I made a couple bucks. I broke even, and then I ended up making like 1 unit. So it ain't bad. I got paid. I got paid to watch the fights last night, so that's a plus. Western Mass said back in the 90s, the mall was everything. Dude, I remember being like 10 and seeing my cousins who were like 16 and shit, and they're going to the mall by themselves with their friends, like, thinking like, oh, dude, they're so fucking cool. They go to the mall by themselves. And you just hang out. You just hang out all day at the mall, and there'd be packed. You'd be like, oh, I don't want to go to the mall. There's going to be so many people there. Dude, it was weird. It was like a movie. Every store had like this gate in front of it. It was shut down, and then there was people just like in the middle of the mall, set up like a farmer's market, just like selling shit off a table. There was no food. There was one restaurant in the food court. And I remember you used to go like one of the places you could go to eat. Like if you were sitting down with your friends, like, hey, you want to get some food? Where do you want to go? One of the options was like the food court at the mall. Now it's no, it's fucking weird. Hap said the vids are sick, man. I appreciate it, dude. I'm trying my best. You know, it's like there's like a line between like quality and quantity. I know like sometimes you just got to put some fucking content out. That was like when I don't know, I dropped in I can't remember which one it was, but the first like road to 300 video, I was just like, I need to get something out. So it's kind of shitty, but like I'm stuttering because I wasn't that prepared, like talking wise. You could know all about MMA. Like you could be the sharpest fucking fan there is, but once you turn the camera on, you and start talking, you need to have an order that you say this shit and like everything you want to talk about, and then you stop recording and you're like, fuck, I forgot that whole point I wanted to make, and so then you make the video again. So that one, I didn't have my notes too good, so there was a lot of like stuttering on what I'm saying. So there, if you notice in the videos, there's more like jump cuts and edits because there was a lot of like like that kind of shit. But then afterwards, they're going pretty good. Oh, that's what I want to ask you guys. Which fight on 300 should I make the next one on? I was thinking Yuri versus Rakic, or the main event, or Diego Lopez and Sadiq. That's a good one, man. I'm like excited. I want to watch some tape on Diego Lopez. But let's take a little poll right now. I'm not gonna actually put a poll up, but just put in the chat which fight you guys want me to break down next. Paku said last night went really well, along with his rugby bet. He killed it this week. You got to let me know when your rugby team is playing so I can watch. I want to like start watching rugby. I'll root for whoever you tell me to. The arcade. Dude, that's the one thing this mall... So, this is the mall I used to go to when I was a kid, obviously, but when I was a kid, there was no fucking arcade. Now they got this killer fucking arcade, dude, with like, I don't know, there's just tons of cool games in there, and there's like nobody. It was completely dead. There was nobody in the arcade. One store that used to be, I can't remember what store it used to. It used to be like this hippie store. They would sell like incense and like pipes back in the day. Anyway, they got rid of the store, and there was just a bunch of like 50-year-old dudes in there playing beanbag toss game. I'm like, this is what happens in the mall now? Hap said, I have so many people I'm picking against, but hope win in 300. I know, right? Let me finish your... Hope Aljo wins, picking Cater. Hope Miller wins, picking Green. Hope Charles wins, picking Armand. I'm I'm with you on the Arman one. I'm picking Aljo. I'm not picking Cater. I'm picking Aljo, and I hope he wins, but I'm actually picking Rakic, and I really don't like him that much. I'm more of a Yuri fan. I'm on Armin too, bro. I don't know if it was just because like I was watching like leading up to the video I made. I watched a ton of Armin fights, and they're doing a YouTube series on him. So I've been watching a lot of his shit. So I think that might be like, you know, clouding my judgment a little bit. Also, it's so hard with Charles is like, you know, I remember the old Charles, like the quitter, even though he wasn't. I understand. There's always, extenuating circumstances, but it's like every time he wins, I am surprised and not surprised at the same time. When he goes out there against an elite fighter and puts on a world-class performance and strangles the dude out and around, I'm like, oh yeah, Charles Oliveira. But I'm also like, oh shit, man, I didn't think he was going to do that. And I think, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be like that at 300. If he goes out there and just chokes the shit out of Armin, I'm going to be like, I was picking Armin, but it's Charles Oliveira. Not surprising. Spartacus Senior said, "What's up, my fellow MMA homies?" That's, us. We're just in here talking some MMA. Spartacus Senior, who are you picking? You got Charles Oliveira or Arman Sarukian? Let me know who you got. I'm not looking at the fight as a handicapper. I'm looking at it as a biased fan. Charles for the effing win every day. I know. I'm a big. How can you not be a Charles fan? Can you guys think of another example of someone who was a journeyman, was well established in the UFC, had a reputation, and then all of a sudden just became elite? I can't think of anyone else who. I think lots of guys who were elite and then became journeymen, but the other way around, Charles is the only guy who is just another fighter, and then all of a sudden, years into his career, just became this killer. Let me know if you guys can think of any other, I can't think of another example like that. Paku saying what's up to Spartacus Senior. Well, a lot of Armin hate in this chat. I really hope Charles wins. Western Mass saying hi to Senior. Paku said he's up 20 units since Charles Oliveira has gone on his 12-fight win streak. Wow, good for you, bro. I really think Holloway is going to school Gaethje, though. I can't wait. I hope. I'm also picking Holloway, but as I've said many times before, I am super biased. He is hands down my favorite fighter, so I can't even give you. I'm not even going to pretend like I'm looking at it objectively. I'm just hoping. I'm just hoping that Gaethje, I don't even want to see if I had a genie in a bottle right now and the genie was like, you could have a good fight and, the better man wins, but you're guaranteed a good fight, or Justin Gaethje blows his ACL and it's over in 3 seconds, but Holloway gets the win, I'd be like, Holloway gets the win. I want him to win more than I want a good fight. And he's the only guy in the UFC that I feel like that about. Hap said, I think Charles was always elite. He just had to improve his mentality, and he did. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. It's like he was two different fighters. Like if you watch his fights before the Felder fight, he was just a journeyman. Like his jiu-jitsu was elite, and he was a good striker. He was like an above average striker with really good jiu-jitsu. But then I don't know. In my eyes, he just like became elite. Like so, some people say, well, he had his daughter, and that like fueled him or whatever. But he beat Clay Guida, and then after that, it was just off to the races. Andrew, he agrees with Hap. He was always elite, and he just needed something to bring it out of him. Paku said it's okay to be biased as long as you acknowledge it. I mean, I can't deny it. Like talking, I talk football with my partner at work, and he's not from Buffalo, so like, but when we talk, he gives me like, objective thoughts on the Buffalo Bills, and I'm like, that's absurd. Josh Allen's the greatest quarterback to ever walk the face of the earth, and that's just the bottom line. And if we have a player and he leaves here, well, he's a piece of shit. That he was never any good anyway. We don't like that play. Like, I am completely not objective whatsoever when it comes to the Buffalo Bills. Max is gonna body slam. Max is gonna slam body kicks into his ribs. Create angles. Gaethje is going to swing big, not fast enough for Max. Max will drown him and snuff out his gas. This is 100% not biased. I love them both. I hope so, dude. I hope so. I said in my breakdown video, if Max is excellent at fighting at the end of his punches, at the end of his strikes in general. And if he can do that against Gaethje, and there's not a man on the planet who can withstand the punishment that Max Holloway can deliver if he's allowed to fight his fight. Like if as long as Gaethje doesn't destroy his legs, or he's not worried about takedowns, which obviously for whatever reason Gaethje just refuses to wrestle. So if he's allowed to fight his fight, I 100% think he can win this. And I'm max betting him too. I'm max betting Max. And talk about Calvin Kattar smashing Aljo because Massachusetts is better than New York. Please and thank you. Well, I picked Aljo to win that fight. However, I'm not like I live in New York and I'm from New York and I love Buffalo, but I don't identify as a New Yorker. So yeah, Massachusetts is better than New York. Like, I'm not a fan of New York at all. We have screw New York. And if Kattar wins, I'm totally fine with that. If Kattar just boxes him up, he sprawls and brawls and does his thing, good for him. Did you guys see Matt Serra was on the Joe Rogan Experience, and he talked about it briefly, how Aljo and Merab like train in Las Vegas now, and he was definitely like butthurt about it. He was talking about how back in the good old days, when these local kids came into the gym and we built them into world champions, and we were there cage side for every one of their fights, and Chris Weidman didn't big time us and go get some coaches, and he was definitely butthurt about the fact these dudes are are going to New York or going to Las Vegas, and now they're having Eric Nixick in their corner and shit. And he's like, I'll be damned if I'm gonna have a meeting about who's gonna be in the corner to hold a spit bucket for the kid who walked into our gym. Like he didn't say it like this. Like he was like, no, it's no big deal. I don't care. But I ain't gonna get in an argument about who's gonna hold the spit bucket. You could tell he's not. And I was wondering too, because his last couple fights, I didn't see Matt Serra in his corner. I'm like, why is Matt Serra not with Aljo? Well, and you can't really blame those guys because they have the Apex, and I'm sure the facilities are way nicer than Sierra Longo's gym in New York, wherever it is. Like they have, obviously they don't have Matt Serra and Ray Longo coaching them, but they have professional chefs making all their meals that they don't have to pay for, and I can't really blame them, Well, I don't know. That'd be tough. That's a hard situation, You come up, these guys brought you up through the ranks, like they were there every step of the way, and now you're a big time, you're a championship fighter, and you don't have the guy who was there coaching you when you were an amateur. I don't know. Weird situation. I think Pereira is going to circle around Hill early, trying to land his kicks. Hill's going to stalk him down. Alex is going to stick his arms out while Hill crashes in and gets slept. I think Hill's coming back too early from that Achilles injury. It takes any professional athlete, you blow out your Achilles, you rupture it, you're out for a year, And these are guys in the NFL who have the best of the best medical treatment that money could possibly buy, and they're always out for a year. It's always a year. So it wouldn't surprise me one bit if Hill is not 100%, and they're like, "Would you want to headline 300?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure. My Achilles is only at 50% and might blow out the first time I, step backwards, but I'll take that fight. And I don't care who you are. You're fighting Alex Pereira. You better be at 100%, and even then you might get knocked out." Max would win it and will be the new champ, the new BMF champ. I hope Max knocks out Gaethje, is like, all right, you guys can keep this 155 shit, goes back down to 45 and gets that belt. Fuck Topuria. Pereira is a good fighter, but he doesn't finish his fights. I mean, he's finished plenty of fights. Western Mass. The hell are you saying? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Dude, could you imagine that? The third fight of a trilogy between Holloway and Poirier, and it's for the undisputed belt. Sign me up. He is overrated big time. He should be underrated. Who are you talking about, Andrew? Oh, Pereira. Pereira's overrated. If I was a coach, I would be understanding and only hope the best for my students. Why stay angry at someone for bettering themselves? I understand what you're saying. But still, there's bro, you I don't know. You come up with somebody, you brought this kid up from the start, and he kind of, you can't be mad about it. You can't be bitter about it. But it's gonna hurt. I completely understand if Sarah's, a little hurt by it. Aljo is so effing strong, and he will be even stronger at 45. If Aljo gets his hands locked, the fight is pretty much done. Aljo, first round sub with high confidence. So I'm pretty much in total agreement with Paku there. I think that of the 3 levels of grappling, the takedowns, control, and finishing, the takedown part is the hardest part for Aljo. It's the hardest part for everybody. Well, not necessarily. But it's the thing that Aljo is least proficient in, is his takedowns. Like, he doesn't have, folk-style wrestling double legs. He does, but they're not world class. And Calvin Kattar is excellent at stopping those, outside doubles. But if Aljo can use his striking to back him up against the fence and somehow, some way get his hands locked around him, he has good takedown defense, but he doesn't have the grappling defense necessary to stop a guy like Aljo from strangling him. Like, it's a whole different story when Aljo's on your back or inside control than it is when you guys are standing face to face in the center of the octagon and you just got to sprawl and keep him off you. But Aljo doesn't have great shots. And Calvin Kattar's a great boxer and he knows how to cut corners and stuff. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. If I had to bet, I would say that Aljo is just spamming his wrestling. He's with Merab, just getting that work in, like trying to build up that cardio, just span the takedown, you just need one. You just need to get him on the mat once, Miller is going to sleep Hill. And I don't know why no one's talking about it. Iron chin with big power, not afraid to throw in combination is Green's kryptonite. Miller by KO. I really hope Miller wins. That would be awesome. I mean, the fact that he's fighting is awesome. You fought at 100, 200, and 300. Western Mass says, Dustin wins, then Max cuts back to 145, smites Taporia, yes sir, and reclaims his crown. Dude, sign me up. Paku said, I keep my coach in my corner even if I went to the UFC. He's the guy that taught me everything. The master. I'd be nothing without him. I'm a big loyalty guy. No, I agree 100%. And Aljo is the guy he is because of Matt Serra. Aljo has he's Matt Serra's black belt. Like, that's why he's the champion, is because his jiu-jitsu is better than everyone else's, and the guy who taught him jiu-jitsu was Matt Serra. Like, don't get me wrong, Ray Longo's a great head coach, and but Aljo's a grappler. He's a jiu-jitsu guy, and we all know who taught him that. Aljo is overrated, and he will never get beaten at all. What do you mean? Western Mass says, you're wild. Max isn't body slamming Dustin. Yeah. No, I think he said he's going to slam kicks to his body. I read that as body slamming too, but I think he said slam kicks to his body. Did you see Dustin's post? Apparently him and Makhachev is official? No, I did not. Yeah, throw in a link. If this is true, let me know, guys. Because that would be some awesome news. Aljo Wrestling is criminally underrated. Took the Olympian down multiple times. So, you're kind of making me eat my own words here a little bit. That's true. I mean, he took Henry Cejudo down with freestyle, folk style wrestling. So, I said it's not world class, but then again, if you get a takedown on Triple C, I think that automatically makes your wrestling world class, right? Western Mass retracted his comment. He must have been posted something really bad. Real quick, who do you guys, who'd you have winning the main event last night? You think there was a little, I mean, obviously you can't call it a robbery, right? But I think Chris Curtis did enough to get it done. Then his freaking hamstring exploded in the last 5 seconds, and it looked like he was hurt from that body kick, but it was his leg blowing up that was the problem. I'm all zinned up. I've been cranking through Zins this week like it's nobody's business. So, oh, I asked you guys, which fight, the main event, the Yuri fight, or what was the other one I said? There was 3 fights I was going to choose from that I'm going to make my next video about. Rakic and Yuri, the main event, or I'm having a brain fart. Oh, the Sadiq Youssef fight. I think I'm going to do it on the Sadiq Youssef one. Obviously, I'm going to make one for the main event too. So, but I kind of want to go watch some footage on those guys. What would happen if you ate a Zin? Me, probably nothing, because I freaking do like 57,000 of them a day. Well, it's our dog, but my wife has a Chihuahua Rat Terrier mix, and I'm pretty sure, like, sometimes if I'm laying in bed at night, like watching videos before I go to bed and I have a Zin in, I'll put it on my little nightstand, and I never see him there. Like, in the morning I'll wake up and I'll be like, I know I put it out, I gotta throw that in the garbage, and it's gone. My little fucking Chihuahua's over here like fiending for nicotine. Paco said, I've been thinking about it. 2-2 going into the last round. Curtis was beating the piss out of Allen. Round 5 and lost the last 10 seconds. I actually think Curtis did enough to win round 5. Yeah, we were texting last night. I also had it 2-2 going into 5, and I think Curtis absolutely won. Like, how are you scoring that, like, are you scoring takedowns as if they mean nothing? If so, like, especially a takedown with no damage, because Allen wasn't doing any damage on his takedowns. And Curtis, in round 5, he was doing a much better job of sprawling and not even getting taken down. And when he did get his back taken, he got right up and there was no damage done. I think it was super close going into round 5. It looked like he got hurt with that, with that body kick, and they were like, oh, that was like the most damaging strike of the fight. We got to give this one to Allen. I really want Poirier to win, man. What an end to a legendary career that would be. I agree. I think there's gonna come a day in the future where, like, how people talk about, I think they call them like the 4 kings or the 4 horsemen or something back in the 80s with the boxers, like Sugar Ray, Duran, and who are the other 2 guys? The guy, he wears the red hat. War. Anyway, I think there's going to come a time where we talk about like Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje and all these guys, and how like Khabib was the fucking king of them all, and it was like the golden era of lightweight 155. Hap said, I'm saying it now. If Dustin actually goes for his worthless, terrible, no good guillotine and ends up on his back against Makhachev in potentially his last title fight, he deserves to lose. How about he goes for his worthless, no good, garbage guillotine and chokes Islam unconscious? Because there's no way that Islam is tapping to a guillotine. I don't think Islam taps to any submission, but you can't stop yourself from going out. So is that official? Is Dustin Poirier versus Makhachev official? Western Mass said he's finishing every gilly. Duran, Hagler, Hearns, and Sugar Ray. Wow, that's awesome. I can make a fucking video on that. Oh man, how awesome would that be if Dustin could somehow beat Makhachev? That would be so good. I don't see it happening, but man, I want that to happen. He deserves it. Like, what a warrior, dude. How many amazing fights has Dustin Poirier given us over the years? Like Pacu said last night, I forget who we were talking about, but he's like, that dude fights for your money. Dustin Poirier fights for your money. Like, he just puts it on the line. Every time he goes out there, you know you're getting everything he's got. And he's just such an awesome fighter. So this stupid lunar eclipse that's happening tomorrow, is it a big deal where you guys are from? Like here, they're closing down like every business. Like I said, I don't even have work tomorrow because I don't even know why. I guess it's just going to get dark for a few minutes, but we also have like a ton of people from out of town that are like in Western New York right now to watch this shit. It would be a great win. I have no idea how long Dustin... If he can beat Makhachev, but he needs to keep it on the feet at all costs. No games with guillotines or anything else. See, he like threatens that guillotine because when somebody shoots a double leg, it's easier to threaten a guillotine than it is to sprawl. It takes a lot less energy too. And if he can, say you shoot in on a double, and I throw on the guillotine and it's close, well, now you're going to be thinking about that. So you're not even going to want to shoot as much, which obviously, but see, that's the other thing too is Makhachev doesn't just shoot like a regular wrestler. He uses a lot of like judo and trips and ankle picks and shit. So he doesn't just need, he doesn't need like just a double leg to take him out. And even then, it's a simple adjustment. Instead of taking your shot with your head to the outside, you shoot with your forehead right down the middle. But that's also like Western wrestlers that get caught in that shit, And again, he did have Khabib in a guillotine. Dude, if he threw a ghillie up against Khabib, you know he's going to try and guillotine Makhachev. You know there should be odds on that. Over under 1.5 rounds before Dustin Poirier tries to guillotine Makhachev. Dustin needs to use his guillotine to get better position. He can use it to transition. Doesn't really need to finish with the guillotine. He can use it to advance. 100%. That's it. That's exactly it. More than anything, you can use it to stop the takedown, basically. Like I just said, if you get it, here's the thing too. To really apply the guillotine, he needs to have him in his guard. at least half guard. If that's the case, now you're on your back with fucking Islam Makhachev is on top of you. But if he can threaten it, even if like he can get it along the cage and say from standing, like say what but I just don't see this happening. But if he could somehow snap down Makhachev and then throw him into the guillotine from standing and just let him feel that, you can, like, when you're grappling, even if the submission doesn't work, you can feel like, oh shit, that is something that could put me out. Like, that felt dangerous. There's times where guys will put you in a guillotine and you're like, I'm not afraid of this shit. Like, if I get put in this, I know I can get out. But then there's times where you get put in something that you do escape, but you can feel it while it's happening. Like, dude, if something goes wrong here, this could end the fight. So you can use that to stop the guy from trying to shoot takedowns. However, it's not going to work so much against Islam because he doesn't have just a conventional double leg. He uses sweeps and trips and ashis, like ashi foot sweeps. He's so good at that. He'll get a tie, and it's basically you just push your opponent so all their weight goes to onto one foot, and before he goes to plant that foot, you just sweep it out from underneath him. It's called the ashi harai, and Islam Makhachev is amazing at him. They look effortless, which they are if you do them correctly. So he can use ashis, ankle picks. He can take Dustin down a lot of different ways without shooting a double leg. So I would advise him not to even try it. But for whatever reason, he's just like addicted to fucking throwing the guillotine up. I think it's because it's easy. It's a lot easier than sprawling, Like, this dude's going to try and take me down. Well, I'm just going to squeeze his head instead of putting all the effort into a sprawl or trying to hit a switch and get out from a whole scenario. Hab said, but it's Makhachev. He's not going to be afraid of Dustin's guillotine. I agree with that. He's not going to be afraid of Dustin's guillotine. However, if it's applied correctly and early enough, it doesn't matter if he's afraid of it or not, because it's going to fucking put him to sleep. That's the great thing about strangles, is you could be the toughest dude in the world, but if your brain isn't getting blood pumped to it, you're going out. I can't wait until Max lands a good one on Justin. Justin needs a breather, but Max punches him in the nose again, and then the body. Every time Justin tries to take a breath, Max hits him and drowns him. That's what Max does. He literally drowns his opponents in strikes. Like, you'll see guys, they'll throw some combinations and they'll back up, and both guys are like, all right, and it's like an unspoken agreement that they're taking a second right now and they're going to catch their breath, and then in 2 seconds from now they're going to start punching again. Well, Max, like, he doesn't let his opponent have that second. You've seen this, he did this really good against Brian Ortega. Like, Ortega wanted so bad just to step back and like and take a big breath, and Max just would not stop. Like, he was constantly throwing combinations at him, and it's just like, it's like mentally exhausting. So I could 100% see that happen. Andrew said Islam is slow and doesn't finish. I don't know about that. Islam is fucking amazing. Did I tell you I submitted a blue belt in jiu-jitsu the other day? I double-legged him, let them get up, and then I snatched a standing ninja choke before... Oh, because I only know the rear naked choke rip. That's fucking awesome, dude. Good for you, man. I remember, like, the first time I submitted a higher belt, I'm like, fuck yeah. And people say, like, oh, whatever, that they were probably letting you work or whatever. Yeah, but like during that sequence, that guy wasn't. For example, if I let a new blue belt or even a white belt or something, like if I let him get the triple threat and then from there, like a lot of times I'll do this. I'll just like let them get the triple threat and then they get a seatbelt grip and I'm like, all right, I'll start working from this seatbelt grip. Well, if he wins the hand fight and starts choking me and I tap, that's a submission. He's submitted me. Like it's fair and square, Yes, I understand. If we both started from the feet and I was trying as hard as I could, would he have ever got to triple threat in the first place? Well, no. But he did what was necessary from the position he was in to get the finish. It counts. It's something to be proud of. I think so. We have a super high level black belt not super high level, but we have a high level black belt at the academy I train. And my favorite submission, I get arm triangles 10-1 to every other submission. Like it's just the thing I like the most. And the reason for that is because of this guy. Like he worked with me specifically on that for months. And but anyway, he let me start in the side control and then I ended up finishing him with an arm triangle. Like that counts, like I submitted the black belt. If we started the round from standing or even from guard, would I have ever even got to side control? No. No, definitely not. But at the end of the day, I did what I had to do from the position I was in to get the finish, so I think it counts. I would never, there's guys who, a blue belt or something will be like, tap a brown or something like that, and then you'll hear the guy saying, like, oh yeah, great job, dude. I was letting you work a little bit, but you did a great job. Like, you don't need to throw that I was letting you work part in there. Like, if you didn't tap, your ass was going out. Max is going to sleep. Max is going to sleep the night before the fight. He's going to wake up. He's going to eat breakfast. He's going to warm up, and then he's going to knock Justin the fuck out. UFC Casual says, I think Max gets too reckless with his combos, but I want Max to win. I mean, the guy's never been knocked down in his entire career. So he does put them together, and they are extended, and he will just stand toe-to-toe in an absolute firefight. But you can't really call it, well, he also has absorbed more significant strikes than anybody else. But if he's able to absorb them and still finish the fight, is it too reckless? I guess you could make an argument for it. Gaethje couldn't sleep Fiziev, but he's sleeping Max? I don't think so. He's put out one dude in 4 years, but he's going to put out Max. No way. The Korean Zombie was landing on Max. Bro, did you watch that fight? He fucking... there's a difference between, yes, he was hitting him, but the Korean Zombie hit Max with strikes that Max was okay with getting hit with. It wasn't even... When he fought the Korean Zombie, it was... He out-fucking-classed him. Max eats Gaethje's wild shots like cheese and crackers. Any thoughts about John Jones? I don't know. I heard that he had some words with a drug testing lady, and then John Jones actually released the security camera footage of them leaving, and he high-fived her and hugged her on the way out, I guess. And he said that he was having a birthday party and she was being unprofessional. I can completely understand. Like, you're just trying to live your life, and so a couple jamokes show up and they need you to piss in a cup and they want to take blood and all that shit. It's probably super frustrating. But John Jones is also a complete douchebag. So, and a compulsive liar. So I can't take anything he said. Like, even with the footage, I'm still like, nah, you probably did something wrong. Just because he's John Jones. Like, he's fucked up so many times before. And like I said, he's a fucking liar. Like, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if he was in the wrong. But according to the footage, it does look like he said there were some words exchanged. He used profanities and whatever. It got heated, but he never put his hands on her or anything like that. So I don't know. It could be a lot to do about nothing. But it's John Jones. It doesn't surprise me one bit. The dude like fucks up left and right every other day. Paku said there's more water in the brain at 55. The chin will be even better. I can't believe people are questioning Max's chin. It's immortal. Max, I mean, it's fucking legendary. It's absolutely legendary. The guy has never been. It's one thing to never be knocked down. It's another thing to never be knocked down when you're Max Holloway and you've been in how many wars? Like, how many times have that fight with Ricardo Lamas? Like, how many times has Max Holloway just at the end of a fight went to the middle of the ring or the middle of the octagon and pointed to the fucking mat, stood toe to toe, and just threw fucking haymakers? Like, the guy's chin is legendary, but he's not getting any younger. He's only 32, which is crazy because he's been in the UFC for 12 years. You know, you'd think he's like 40, but I love, this is UFC Casual, says, I love Max. I just think Justin will do a lot of damage rounds 1 and 2. He might. Hap said, read my... Okay, Justin Gaethje's finishes in the UFC. Michael Johnson, terrible chin. James Vick, dude. When Gaethje finished Vick, that dude could have been knocked out by my daughter could have knocked out James Vick. Donald Cerrone had a good chin, but it was at the end of his career. I agree with that. Ferguson, that was just awesome, and you acknowledge it. Poirier, another great win. You acknowledge it. So yeah, he had a couple easy ones, but the Ferguson and the Dustin Poirier were legit, you know, and they were both kicks too, both head kicks. Wow, I never thought about that before. Holy shit. Max needs to watch out for the Justin Gaethje's fucking head kicks. I just think Justin will do a lot of damage in rounds 1 and 2. And then Western Mass is like, well, what kind of damage? Face punches, leg kicks, what? That's the other thing. Justin Gaethje's leg kicks are, those things, they're as legendary as Max's chin. And he can throw them from face to face. So Max does need to be cognizant of the leg kicks. He doesn't have tree trunks. He's got some skinny ass little legs. And so, and the other thing too is like checking a Justin Gaethje leg kick. Like, what good does that even do? You know? Hap said, I literally can't wait until Max wins. It's going to be so... Dude, I will be so happy if Max wins. This is awesome. So next week, I'm going to do another Sunday live chat. And we're going to be talking about all the great fights. I was gonna do one like right after the event, but sometimes I'm like so tired that it's not like I remember I did like a post fight video once and I looked like a fucking drug addict and I was like I couldn't talk. Like I'm super tired right now, but I'm holding it together. That's why I don't do like any post fight shows. I was gonna do a live stream last night and I was awake enough for it, but the family had other plans for me. Justin said that Max has enormous calves. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I mean, the bigger your calves are, the bigger a target it is for those stupid perennial nerve kicks. I mean, maybe he's got bigger legs than I thought. He just looks like a skinny frame dude, though, you know? Yeah. If you want Max, believe in him, bro. Just believe in him. He can get it done. Like, how can you doubt the guy? He's just, other than the Volk bullshit, which it, I think Max won that second fight. And if he did, like everything could have played out different, you know? Maybe that third fight doesn't go the way that it goes. And maybe I'm just reaching now because Max is my favorite fighter. It seems like this Max Holloway fight is what we're talking about the most. Which fight on the card, other than Holloway versus Gaethje, are you guys most excited for? I'm going to think about that too. I'm pretty pumped for the Sadiq Youssef fight. This Diego Lopez kid has got a stupid ass haircut, but homeboy can fight. The main event, I don't know. I'm not. I don't know if it's because like I was thinking about it for a year. Like, oh man, I can't wait to find out what the main event for UFC 300 is going to be. And the fact that it's Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill is kind of a letdown that I'm not that excited for it. Like, if it was a regular pay-per-view, I'd probably be a little more excited. The other thing, too, is Hill's injury going to play into this? Like, I should say, how much is Hill's injury going to play into this? You know, I do not think that his Achilles is healed enough. I think that he has an amazing opportunity here, and he couldn't say no. Like, how could you say no to the main event of UFC 300? So, you know, and I'm not a Hill fan either. Like, I don't like him personally. Like, his personality, he just seems like a scumbag. And I really like Alex Pereira. He seems like a really cool, funny guy. So maybe I'm just being a little biased about it. Hap said, I genuinely don't get how people are so confident in Gaethje. Like, he is a good pick, but Max has the better chin, the better cardio, and more experience. Gaethje literally only has power on him. I mean, the experience is even, and Gaethje's been getting it done. Like, other than the Islam fight, he's literally met, every challenge he's had put in front of him. And Trevor Whitman is an absolute mastermind. Like, this is a fucking hell of a fight, man. I want Max to win so bad, but I am not confident. I am also max betting him. I'm going to max bet him and then tell you how I'm not confident in the pick. Western Mass said he's most excited for Cody and Figgy off the rip, right? My cousin's like, you should make a video on all the fights that are on the card that you would put in front of, that you think should be in the Bo Nickel spot. And I'm like, literally every fight other than the chick fights. Like, Garbrandt versus Figgy, you got two former champions fighting I mean, granted, neither are in their primes, and Cody is even farther away from his prime. However, Figgy's older, but what a great fight. Like, right off the rip. Yes, Figgy is my pick as well. Whenever there's a message retracted, I always want to know what it was. But yeah, man, there are so many good fights. I'm actually excited to see Kayla Harrison fight, just because she's somebody I've like, you know, I met and I do judo, so it's cool. But dude, she is such a dude. Like she is jacked. Her like she's fucking stacked. I, I'm interested more than the fight. I'm interested to see how the weight cut goes. Casual said Cody's chin is too unreliable. Dude, it's like past unreliable. It's like James Vick level. That thing is whooped. That dude's brain is just conditioned to shut off, you know? I think Figgy, the first time Figgy lands a solid shot, that Cody's going down. I mean, Cody's cool. He's a cool dude. I like him. But like, what a meteoric rise to the top, and then just the bottom fell out for the guy. Like, it's not like he even, got beat and was, still hanging around. Like, dude, he lost that title and just fell off a cliff. I mean, his hands are sick. Arman or Oliveira? I'm picking Oliveira, and I really want, or I'm sorry, I'm picking Arman, but I want Oliveira. Kayla has been through so many testosterone cycles, she's actually turning into a dude. I wouldn't be surprised if she's growing nuts. Bro, for real. Like, fucking Cyborg. She's like literally becoming a dude. She got all butthurt because Arman said he would freaking give her the shaft in an interview. Like, I'd be afraid not to, but yes, ma'am. I'll do whatever you need me to do, ma'am, sir, ma'am. It's not even that out of pocket. I mean, it's fucking true, bro. She is like a dude. She still has that girly voice, but that's probably going to be going next. She starts growing a neck beard. Do you think Kayla Harrison's balls are like actual man balls, or are they like this weird chick balls? Like tiny little chick balls. And do they grow out of her snatch or like in a different spot? She definitely has balls though. Worst chins in UFC history. James Vick, Matt Schnell. Dude, Hap's going back in time. Phil Hawes. James Vick had a bet. I liked him too because he was like a country dude. Like I was super into firearms and stuff, and I got a magazine, Recoil magazine, and they did a whole breakdown. Like this is back in the day when people fucking read magazines, but they did like a whole like a 3-page article on James Vick and how he like supports the Second Amendment and owns all these guns. He's a super cool dude. I'm like, oh sweet, James Vick. I'm gonna root for him. And his the very next fight, he got fucking sent to the land of wind and ghosts. Paku's betting that Kayla Harrison has straight man balls. Not even like just straight up fucking man testies. Western Matt said, I love this channel, love this chat. Y'all are great. Y'all are the hardcores. There's always like 6 to 9 people in here, and it's like the 6 to 9 realest motherfuckers in the MMA YouTube fandom game. You guys are awesome. One day, watch, one day I'm going to have 100,000 subscribers, but I'm going to remember you guys. Paku's going to come in and UFC Casual and fucking Hap and be like, these are the OGs. I'll never big time you guys, I promise. UFC Casual, I'm trying to get out of the casual era of my life. I think you're past it, bro. I think you're past it. If you're spending your Sunday night on an obscure MMA fucking YouTube channel talking about Kayla Harrison's balls, you're officially no longer a casual. What do you guys got planned for the rest of the night? Right now it's 10:30 p.m. where I am, but I don't have to work tomorrow, so I'm fucking partying it up. I'm actually, once I get off the live chat, I'm going to go on to UFC Fight Pass and start watching some fights for my next Road to UFC 300 video I'll be dropping tomorrow. Hap said, Michael Johnson has one of the worst chins right now. It was pretty good before the Gaethje fight, but I think that took it. Oh, it's like noon where Paku is. He's smoking a blunt, listening to the boys. Dude, I might have a little smoke myself tonight. You know what? That's what I'm gonna do. When I'm done with this chat, I'm gonna go fire up a fucking little spleef, then I'm gonna have a cigar, and I'm gonna watch some. I don't know. You guys still haven't answered my question about which fight I should break down next. And I'm like trying to get you guys to say the Sadiq Youssef fight. So I think I'm just gonna go do that. I'm gonna go watch some Sadiq Youssef, fucking Diego Lopez video, and chill. I'm pumped. I got training in the morning, so I'm gonna go hang out with some dudes I don't get to train with. Like my best friend in the world, this dude, my buddy Brandon. We train together, but he's my best friend, so it doesn't count. But my favorite training partner is this guy Rob, and he's a daytime guy, and I'm a nighttime guy. So on the rare occasion where I get to train during the day or he gets to train at night, we get all excited. So I'm all excited I get to train with my buddy Rob tomorrow. He's a super smooth wrestler. Like, I don't know if you guys do any like grappling training, but it's so nice when you can go hard with somebody, but they're smooth, so it never feels like you're gonna get injured, or like we can have like crazy scrambles, and you're all over the place, but it always feels controlled and safe. Like I love rolling with this dude. So that's what I'm all excited for in the morning tomorrow. Then I'm gonna get out of that. The wife has to work, so I'm gonna go to her work. I'm gonna watch it get dark outside and then light again, and then that'll be my day. Little Nova, what's up, bro? You always come in at the end of the chat, man. Western Mass said Cody and Figgy. All right, maybe I'll do that one. Paku said Lopez Youssef would be his pick. You're just saying that because you're my boy and you know that's the one I want to do next. Oh, he said I was going to say that before. All right, fair enough. Cody Figgy. So that's cool. I got like 4 more of these little videos I can do during the week. Obviously, I got to do the main event. Hap Chandler said, casual, watch Michael Johnson versus Justin Gaethje. It's his favorite fight besides Poirier versus Hooker. I'm going to write that down. So, the other day, I feel bad. My partner at work is a boxer, and he is a casual UFC fan. And he was like, if there was any fights I should watch, what fight should it be? And I was trying to tell him to watch Justin Poirier versus Dan Hooker. And I was telling him, I'm like, you got to watch Dan Hooker versus Calvin Kattar. I don't know why I was saying Calvin Kattar. And he's like, he's texting me. He's like, dude, I've been looking for it. I can't find this fight anywhere. I'm like, poor guy. Looking for a made-up fight. UFC Casual said, I've only started watching every event a year and a half ago. That's okay, bro. You're past the casual now. I'm telling you. If anyone tries to argue it, you tell them the fucking MMA Jackal has granted you hardcore status. Nova said, I just got off work. How's everything been getting ready for 300? Dude, super pumped. Super pumped. I was telling these guys earlier, we got that lunar eclipse tomorrow. My wife was talking about how people were saying the world's going to end. And the first thing came to my mind is it can't fucking end before UFC 300 happens. She's like, really? The world's going to end? That's what you're worried about? Watching UFC? And I was like, fuck yeah, that's what I'm worried about. Best fight ever. Poirier versus Hooker. Gaethje versus Johnson. Holloway Rodriguez. Figgy Moreno won. Hap, that's a fucking killer list, dude. Mass says, I got back into MMA for the Khabib Poirier fight. What was it about that fight that made you get back into MMA? Pat Barry versus fucking Czech Congo. If you're in this chat and you've never seen Pat Barry versus Czech Congo and you don't know what happens, don't look up what happens and go watch that fight. Or how about, I don't know how it would be watching it back, but the Gray Maynard versus his trilogy with fucking having a brain fart. Help me out here. Gray Maynard's trilogy with fucking, you know who I'm talking about. Somebody put the name in the fucking chat here. Who did Gray Maynard have a trilogy with? Why can't I think of this guy's name right now? Fucking... Oh, God. Frankie Edgar. Thank you, Hap. I don't know how it would be to watch it back, but, like, happening... Like, as it was happening, it was fucking awesome. Like, you knew Gray Maynard had the win against Edgar already, but Edgar was the champ. Gray Maynard was the favorite going into the first fight over the champ, Frankie Edgar, and then Gray Maynard fucking blasts him in the first round, nearly finish him. He holds on to survive. Frankie Edgar comes all the way back. Dude, it was fucking awesome. That's one of the... That Maynard versus Edgar 1 and 2, they're both awesome fucking fights. They'd probably be in my top 10. I would put them together as counted as one, and that would be in my top 10 all-time fights. For sure. Oh shit, I'm getting behind here. John Smith, what's up, bro? Western Mass has granted UFC Casual a hardcore hammer. You gotta switch your name to like the UFC Hammer now or some shit like that. That's awesome. I want a hardcore hammer. Mark Hunt versus Bigfoot. Yeah, Bigfoot. You know, Sasquatch. I might believe the clips. Yeah. Little Nova said if there was a Tony and Khabib fight, we should be worried about the eclipse is gonna fucking end the world. Paku said I'm gonna be slamming the heavy bag tomorrow. I'd be mad if the world ended before my sets are done. I gotta get a heavy bag just for the fucking workout, just like the cardio workout. It'd be even more of a workout for me because I don't know how to punch efficiently. Man, I wish you didn't live on the other side of the world, Paku. We'd fucking team up. Like I said, I'd fucking show you some grappling. You'd show me how to punch somebody in the face. MMA Breakdowns channel. What's up, dude? It's your first time in the chat? We're just fucking winding down here. I'm happy to have you. My friend was talking to me about the hype for Khabib Poirier. Oh, and then that just... So you watched MMA before, and then he was like, oh, Khabib and Poirier are going to fight. And then you're like, sweet, I'm just going to become a hardcore fucking addict of the sport now. MMA Breakdowns channel. Are you dropping a pick video for 300? So, I don't really do a lot of picks. Like, I don't know. I feel weird. I don't study a lot of, like, the betting side of it and who's gonna, you know, who I think's gonna win and what your pick should be on this fight. But I break down the fights more like technically and what each guy needs to do to win, what, you know, his best path to victory and shit like that. So what I've been doing for 300, instead of putting out like 1 hour and a half, 2 hour long fucking video where I ramble on about each fight, I'm making like little 10-minute videos of the most important fights and putting them out. I started last week with some, and I'll be putting them out all week. Like little 8 to 12-minute breakdowns of each individual fight. At the end of which I give who I'm leaning towards and stuff like that. But as far as like betting goes, shit like that, I'm not... I bet on the fights, but I don't give advice because I suck at it. I'm going to be straight up with you. Paku, on the other hand, Paku MMA, now that dude is a sharp bettor. Hap said, I know we're all joking, but imagine the world actually ends. That would be terrible. Not necessarily. Maybe whatever happens after this is fucking wonderful. And then we all get up there and they're like, sweet, this is way better than what the fuck we were doing. We end and fucking... wherever we go in the afterlife, Tony and Khabib actually happened, and Tony choked out Khabib and fucking strangled him unconscious. You're like, whoa, it's a whole nother world. I don't know, what the fuck were you doing with your life before you got back into MMA? Whatever it was, wasn't as cool as what you're doing now. Andrew said, I am goated here. Right, Jackal? You are, bro. There's only like 9 of you motherfuckers in here. You're all goated. You're all hardcores. Sweet. AJ's going on in 15. I'll put that on while I'm rolling my J, and then I'll say hi to you guys in there. If he said he's going live in 15 minutes, that means he'll be live in like 45. Nate fought Gray 3 times too. He did. Dude, Gray Maynard was a fucking beast back in the day. He's another guy like you never hear of. You know, like some of these dudes get out of the sport and they just must like, you know, they don't have gyms. They don't they don't have anything to do with it anymore. He's one of those guys. Like you remember, oh, now I'm not going to be able to fucking remember his name. I'm not even going to bring it up because I can tell you right now that I'm forgetting his fucking name. I like Strickland, but just stop complaining. Beat Usman, then beat Izzy once. Izzy KO's Drickus. I think Sean is champ in 2025. He could be. Choi versus Cub Swanson. Dude, I'm writing that down right now. That was a fucking awesome fight that I haven't seen in forever. That's going to be like, it's going to be one of my videos when shit gets slow and we don't have UFC 300 coming up like next week. That's a great video idea, like all-time greatest fights. Just like make a list of them. UFC Casuals asking Paco if he trains. He sure the fuck does. He'll kick your fucking head off your shoulders. I've seen video of Paco kicking the bag. He's not a small man. He said, I'm a boxer. I'm getting into MMA striking. I'm training a Dutch kickboxing style at the moment. What's the difference between Dutch kickboxing and fucking regular kickboxing? I mean, I know the difference between kickboxing and Muay Thai, but like, why? And also, why are people in the Netherlands so fucking good at kickboxing? Like, how random is that? Andrew said, GSP is my all-time favorite fighter. You and a lot of other people. For me, it's BJ Penn. Or, ooh, that's a tough one. BJ Penn or Daniel Cormier? I don't know. I'd have to think about it. UFC Casuals having the GOAT discussion. I think the GOAT discussion is one that it's a good discussion to have. It's cool. It's fun. Like we can talk and debate about it. But it just you're comparing apples and oranges, and you can't do it. You can't compare eras with, you know, the competition that GSP had to face compared to the competition that Jones had to face, or Khabib and records and all that. It's so hard, you know. It's subjective, but it's a good conversation to have. No one can be right, is what I'm saying. There is no right answer. People have the right to hate on Jones for his antics, but he is still one of the best. Even though he is my GOAT of MMA, Yeah, I can't stand John Jones like as a person. He's a complete piece of shit. He's a liar. I hate liars. He's a fake. Like he fake believes in God and he talks about Jesus and his Lord and Savior, and then he does coke with hookers and hits a pregnant lady with his car. But in my opinion, he's probably the most talented guy we've yet. Him or Mighty Mouse. Or like, think about what John Jones has accomplished and the effort he's put into it. Like he has put in minimal effort and accomplished arguably more than anyone else. So his talent level is just through the roof. Like imagine if John Jones applied himself like George St. Pierre. You know, he'd be the Michael Jordan of MMA. Cowboy's the goat of being cool, dude. Cowboy's the fucking man. I have been a fan of Cowboy since on the Versus Network on cable television, they did a TV show where the dudes from Tap Out would go to local fucking regional shows and they would pick a fighter and then they would sponsor that fighter and then um, bring him into the UFC. And that's how Cowboy got into the fucking UFC. Was the guys from Tap Out found him on the regional scene making some TV show. This is like back in fucking 2005. Which is crazy to think that was 19 years ago. I'm fucking getting old. It's my birthday Tuesday, too. I'm going to be real old. All right. What do we have for time here? All right. We've been going for 90 minutes. I'm going to give it 10 more minutes. We're going to go for 100 even there. And then I will bid you boys farewell. I'm going to go pack me a peace pipe, and I might even have a stogie. UFC Casual said the end of BJ's career. I'm trying to read 3 comments at once. Also, I've been kind of shitty tonight on like reading every comment. I haven't been too good on it. So if you guys said something and I didn't read it and you want me to read it, repeat it. UFC Casual said, wait, hold on. I'm down here. I think Dutch kickboxing allows knees. I could be wrong. Well then, Paco MMA said lots of different styles of kickboxing. Dutch kickboxing, you start with kicks and finish with hands. Or start with hands and finish with kicks. Tight guard, clean boxing, nothing flashy. Gotcha. Alright, so kickboxing is kickboxing. It's just the technique that makes a difference. Hap said he loves to watch John Jones mix up his Muay Thai and his wrestling. Oh, dude, he's a mixed martial artist through and through. Conor vs. Cowboy was sad to see. UFC Casual, you're gonna have a lot of those in your UFC fandom career. Like, it broke my heart when freaking Chuck Liddell got knocked out. The first time seeing Chuck Liddell get knocked out was like, what? Like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. You know, I'm like, well, this can't happen. It's Chuck Liddell. Oh, I'm getting tired. Paku said, Mighty Mouse is the best mixed martial artist of all time. GSP is the greatest fighter. Oh, coming with the fucking hardcore take. I like that. John Jones is a cheating drug abuser, not a legend. That's a good point, though. But GSP was so good at mixing his martial arts, too. Like, he became a great wrestler, like a karate guy, turned into a, jiu-jitsu fighter or trained jiu-jitsu. He just mixed it all together, and then he went and wrestled with the Canadian national team. Like, he was a karate guy who became known as, like, he was a Canadian who became known as a wrestler. Like, he did a great job of mixing his martial arts. John Smith said, Dutch style, does that mean you kick with your feet? Dutch kick with their feet. And that's why in K1 they broke their feet all the time. Oh, like kick with your feet as opposed to your shin, you're saying. Okay, gotcha. Hap said, I love well-rounded fighters that are actually fun. Like, you can hate on Jones, but he looked to damage people both on the ground and on the feet. Like, listen, I don't think anyone's taken away from his ability to fight. He's just, as a human being, he's a piece of shit. Let's not act like Sean O'Malley didn't pop. Kamaru Usman and Michael Chandler aren't clearly on sauce. So many people are juiced up. Not excusing it, but Jones didn't invent roids. No. I'm not even talking about Jones. In fact, his roids thing, like, yes, they did move an entire fucking event. Then it's like the Pico. I'm not even talking about the sauce. I just mean in general, you know, he's fucking doing nose beers and hitting pregnant ladies with his fucking car. You kick with a small part between the foot and the shin bone. Because of that, you do end up kicking with the foot a lot. That's a spacing issue most of the time, though. Western Master, this is one of the greatest chats out there. I appreciate you, brother. GSP as well. He is not as a good fighter. He's becoming good again. Okay, hold on. I got to read it. GSP as well. He is not a good fighter now. He's becoming good again. I don't know what you mean by that. Didn't Jones threaten a drug test? Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. I don't know. Somebody said he threatened her. He might have like put his hands on her, and then John Jones himself released the security camera footage on his house where it shows the drug testing people walking out of his house, and then he hugs one of them and gives him a high five. So it sounds like he was throwing a birthday party for one of his friends. They showed up to get to test him. He was probably drinking, and he was probably pissed off because these people just showed up out of the fucking blue, and I'm sure that's annoying. I'm sure it's a pain in the ass. You know, like, could you imagine you're enjoying yourself, you're hanging out with your boys, and then some goofy bitch shows up with a cup and you got to pee in it, and she's acting like a boss, and I'm sure it's frustrating, and he told her to fuck off or whatever. But I can't give him the benefit of the doubt. If the story is that John Jones fucking pushed some lady, then I believe he probably did something wrong just because he's a piece of shit, and I'm not putting it past him. He said a high five is such a psychopath thing to give someone. You just threatened someone. Yeah, that's true. He's fucking. They're in his house and he's just fucking verbally assaulting them, and then they walk out. And he probably knows that there's a fucking camera on him, you know, and he does know it's his house. His fucking. So he's like, oh, I better make it look like we're friends. Here's a high five. They're probably like, what the fuck? This dude's bipolar. All right, guys. Andrew said, GSP is a good fighter in the past. He's not himself in his matches now. He's getting better to fight again. GSP? George St. Pierre? I'm not sure what you mean. In his matches now, he's getting better to fight again. George St. Pierre doesn't fight anymore. Am I reading this wrong? No, I've heard. In fact, I think it was my partner at work is a big time like NFL guy, and he was telling me that John Jones's brother, Chandler Jones, was known as like a psychopath in the NFL, and like the whole family's a little fucked up. So it's probably the fact that he became a superstar in his early 20s. So your brain isn't even fully developed. He's on drugs. He has some genetic fucking bullshit going on. You mix that all up into a pot and you get John Jones. All right, boys. It's been real. We've been going for 101 minutes on the dot. So, like I said, I think I'm going to go pack a little bolski, have a little cigar, and watch some fights. I got some videos to make tomorrow. Like I said, from now until next week, I'll try and go live again this week. I 100% absolutely will go live next Sunday. But somebody on here called me out for not going live enough. I agree. I should be doing it more. It's just a fucking time thing. But I'm going to try and make it a once a week thing for sure. I can promise you guys that. So if I don't see you again from now until next Sunday, be good. Have fun. UFC 300. It's only, 6 days away at this point. So, all right, guys. I will see you on the next one. And don't forget, go Bills.